Should I make you eat
Hello,
the pizza
everybody.
box?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Anime Club. We are going to talk about the story of Lupin the Third the First, and Nick Nack is not allowed to speak. Vorn, you go.
I'm going to speak after you're done.
Okay.
Ends recording.
Right. No, I'm okay. It's a spy story, obviously, set like post-Nazi, but still involving Nazis. So I mean, it's set in like the 40s, the 50s, 50s-ish.
It said a decade after World War II, a little bit more.
50s.
So yeah.
So it's set in the 50s, like the mid 50s, and that's very obvious with kind of the cars and the planes and the technology available. And the fact that the main antagonist is a Nazi who believes that Hitler survived and moved to South America to recover and wants to bring him back into power as the Führer of the entire world.
As we said in the last episode we filmed.
I mean, the entire plot was that Nazi couldn't get over his ex, right?
Basically, except his ex was Hitler.
Yeah.
And also, this is kind of just like the third Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
Yeah,
in most ways.
Kinda.
I mean, it really is, especially, well, for sure, the whole section once they get to when they're, like, finding their way through the eclipse thing to get to the end is directly out of, like, finding their way to the Grail through those caves.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have the breath test and the trust test and all that kind of stuff. And the whole kind of Nazis trying to find some secret all-powerful item is very, very, Indiana Jones.
Except the Last Crusade was for the Holy Grail, wasn't it?
Yes, but it was still the Nazis.
It's a very Indiana Jones-esque plot up till around the climax where it gets a lot more action-heavy.
I don't know. I think then it just becomes Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, the climax.
The Crystal Skull, so the typical structure of an Indiana Jones movie is the bad guys find what they're looking for, but what they're looking for is their downfall. There they find what they're looking for, that's exactly what they're looking for. It's the hero that is their downfall.
Yeah, that's what happened in the fourth Indiana Jones movie.
No, in the fourth Indiana Jones movie, they get the Crystal Skull, and it melts their face with knowledge.
Yeah, well, it doesn't melt their faces, but it melts them.
Yeah.
Like, holy. Yeah, she's like, tell me, I want to know! I want to know!
And it tells her.
Irina Spalkov, love her. But yeah, it's basically kind of an Indiana Jones movie, though, mixed with a James Bond film. It's kind of got, like, some cheekiness to it and that kind of thing. And it is partially like a kind of a thief and spy movie.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we're definitely going here for, like, he's a criminal and he's trying to find this thing and looking for treasure. It's pretty great, honestly. I think I had maybe one problem with the story, and that's that we don't get a lot of backstory as to the diary or anything at the very beginning. Like that first scene that's supposed to introduce us to, like, the conflict and the people who want the diary or whatever. Well, we don't really see the diary, and we don't really see the people, and we don't really get that the guy is the same as the guy till the end. So really, the movie kind of starts with them stealing the diary. And that whole first, 3 minutes is, a flashback that doesn't have any connections till later in the movie.
Yeah.
But other than that, I had no real issues. I mean, it's funny. The characters are funny,
Lupin, really.
I can sense that Nick Nack is seething with a desire to speak.
I don't hate this film. It's just... I feel like I've seen this film a billion times before. With things like, obviously, Indiana Jones is the big iconic one, but I couldn't even name them other animated films that are fairly similar and have that same structure. Mostly on the Western side. None of them too worth note. And then, in video game format, I've played the Professor Layton series is remarkably similar to how this ends up playing out. I don't know. I could kind of tell where everything was going the entire time outside of, what the big, giant weapon itself did.
To be fair, I figured that out way before the...
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't hate this film at all. Otherwise that'd be a shit. No, this is just... It felt a little too familiar to me, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I still enjoyed it all the same. And I've seen this premise really fits a lot of this similar style movie. And that's fine. That is for what it is. But overall, I still had fun with the movie.
Yeah, not if the movie follows the same basic plot line, kind of like this. They're not always going to be. I mean, I've seen Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones, The Librarian. Those are three movies that are three whole franchises that are basically identical. Yet they all take slightly different takes, and they can still be unique by their smaller details. They don't have to be.
This just didn't do anything for me. I'm not saying you guys couldn't like the film. It just didn't do anything for me. That's all I'm saying.
I can honestly say I just don't understand that at all.
I can kind of, but like the film also had like its jokes, which kind of helped it. So
I don't know. I really don't, and I would argue I've seen a lot of this. I mean, I've even played the Tomb Raider games and shit, and the Indiana Jones games.
Maybe I'm just not as big of a fan of the genre, but the fact that this isn't an argument onto its quality, I'm sure, but it just didn't. All I can say is it just didn't do anything for me story wise. Nothing at all.
Okay.
All right.
I've seen it before, and I'll see it again, I'm sure.
Realm?
I have nothing more to say. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I didn't even realize that anyone was expecting a response from me.
I mean, we always are.
I feel like that's a lie, but I don't know.
Expectations are always placed on you, Realm. You just don't realize it.
You don't feel societal pressure.
No, I really don't.
Can you feel the societal pressure that I am glaring upon you?
Yes, and I don't give a shit.
Maybe that's the issue. You just don't give a shit.
I mean, with that being said, I guess like, comment, and subscribe. We'll
Try
be back
harder,
in a
everyone.
couple days.